I run Elsewhere Farm here on the shores of Lake Superior in northern Wisconsin. I am the third settler on this land. I moved here 25 years ago wanting to be a farmer. It's maybe not the easiest land to farm on. It is in a frost pocket of Lake Superior, but it's perfect for a perennial food forest. It's perfect for animals. My mission here has been to have an ecological farm and support the biodiversity of this region while also providing food for my local community.
So I focused primarily on studying birds and farm landscapes, and initially I got interested in birds because I was interested in bird conservation, and I got interested in agriculture because agriculture is one of the leading threats to bird conservation. But the deeper I got into it, the more I realized that actually birds can be extremely beneficial for food production. There has been abundant studies at this point that have shown that birds are quite beneficial at controlling pest insects. So I really enjoy that I can simultaneously really help conservation as well as food production.
I became a full-time farmer about the same time as I was doing my PhD, and I learned as much jumping into full-time farming as I was learning from my PhD, just by learning from the land. And so every iteration, my place got more diverse. Every iteration, I added more structural diversity or more plant diversity or made sure I had habitat for birds. And it's definitely higher diversity of bird species as well as insect diversity compared to the surrounding woodland or the surrounding grassland. But that biodiversity is protected here because of my pigs. So I got pigs because I thought I could use pigs to till my market garden. Well, it turns out that the pig variety that I got, the American guinea hogs, are not rooting pigs. They're grazing pigs. So we have ground nesting birds that are out in the orchards. They can hatch out their fledglings because that orchard's never mowed. I could immediately build out my food forest and not have to manage any of that complexity because the pigs are doing all of it for me.
So we've been really interested in trying to understand how to build diverse, resilient, and stable bird populations on farms because if you have more stable populations of birds on farms, then they can help you more continuously control pest insects. And so we've looked at how diversity of habitat near a field at the whole farm scale and in the broader area around you influences birds. And what we found is that when you have more lush habitat, more diverse habitat on a farm, you can actually increase the stability of the birds that are using the field. For example, if you have a species like a barn swallow that needs a barn to nest on and then kind of open space to nest, you want bluebirds that can help control pest insects. They need nest boxes. But what we've also found is that it's not really bringing in the negative birds that you don't want. So species like starlings, for example, they're much more influenced by the neighboring land use around you. So you can actually diversify your farm without really bringing in those huge abundances of pest birds that you don't want.
My goal is to have fruit in every CSA share in the summertime. We don't quite make that, but we're closer than not. And that also means we have blooms most of the season, which means we can harbor a lot of birds that appreciate the nectar. So we have a great population of hummingbirds. Turns out hummingbirds eat spotted-winged drosophila, which is a huge pest in raspberries. So I don't just have a field of raspberries, I have rows of raspberries broken up all over the farm that have ponds in between, that have market garden spaces in between, other perennials in between, hedgerows in between. And so the birds get a chance to prey on the spotted ring Drosophila before it moves to the next variety of raspberry later in the season.
We've found repeatedly that one of the most important things in supporting farm biodiversity is to have small fields. If you think about it, if you have a small field, that means that you probably have habitat around it. And so the more habitat that you have around a field, the more biodiversity you can support because they can move, for example, if they're nesting in the hedges, they can move between the fields and the hedges. If you also increase the diversity of crops, you're creating more continuous resources for the biodiversity, but it's also beneficial to you because it can buffer you against extreme weather events as well as providing continuous habitat for wildlife.
I'm not trying to maximize every single crop on the farm. I'm so diverse, I don't need to have absolutely every single pristine apple available. I need to have enough for my CSA. I'm happy to share then with the wildlife, and it still gives me enough resilience that, you know, if the pears didn't have a crop this year, I've got early apples, or you know, vice versa. And so right now we have such an abundance of fruit that we also have a ton of fruit-eating birds. And while I'm happy to share, I would like a honeyberry crop at some point. And so now I'm starting to plan for kestrel boxes so that there's a little bit more predator bird population that can sort of tone down the free-for-all that's out there right now with my beautiful cedar waxwings.
My work has identified some beneficial Midwestern bird species that help to control pests. So in particular, I've worked with American kestrels, which are small falcons, and we found that having nest boxes for the falcons in cherry orchards in Michigan is a really good way to get kestrels to come into the orchards. And then once they're there, they can help deter pest vertebrates like birds and rodents, and that in turn can help improve the crop yields as well as food safety because you're deterring amounts of fecal contamination that could get on the crops. And so farmers typically really love having raptors on their farms. You can also put up perches for raptors. So for example, red-tailed hawks will use perches that they'll forage off of. I also hear a lot from farmers that they just really value having the birds on their farm. So they enjoy having the birds because of their beautiful songs, or they enjoy watching them fly. Farmers just like having the birds for personal enjoyment.
There are huge ecological benefits that affect your bottom line if you can make room for more bird species, more soil diversity, adding perennials, and the biodiversity usually has an immediate economic impact. There's no way I can farm as climate change gets worse without making sure that the ecological relationships are intact.